Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Strasberg. This microphone placement is quite strange. I apologise, it gets in the way of my playing too much. What are we here to do today? We are here to talk about my pedalboard. It's been a few years since I last did one of these. A fair bit has changed with the board. Some things have stayed the same, some things have changed, naturally. A lot is new, a lot is different. So, firstly, in case this is your first time, cable in the way, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Brendan Strasberg Statham. I'm a guitarist based in Australia, Queensland, Australia. I'm not going to tell you too much more than that. Can't have you fucking freaks doxing me. You fucking nerds. Look, Sunshine Coast, whatever. Because I'm about to tell you that I play guitar in a band called Citizen Rat. Please follow us on Instagram if you feel like it. Big things on the way, as the kids like to say. And this pedalboard is the board that I use within that band. And it's my only board, really, but it's also the board that I use within that band. And I just want to go through with it, go through it and talk about it. And that's for a couple of reasons. One, I'm a big fucking nerd. I like talking about guitar pedals. I like talking about guitar gears. Also, yes, I do wear glasses. If this is not your first time around, you will have not seen me in glasses, but I've got a couple of things I've got to keep an eye on for this video, and I need to be able to see, and I'm actually blind as fuck, so without my glasses on, I can't really see anything, so glasses for today, hopefully. That doesn't make you unsubscribe. If you hate glasses, people, fair enough, that's your choice. Anyway, I want to go through this board because it's been pretty stable for a while. Guitarists, I'm no different than most guitarists. We like to change things. Things change over time. You're constantly swapping pedals in and out, maybe different guitars, whatever. We like to try lots of things. But because this is a board I use with my band, there's been some staples. And even though the specific pedal selection may not be the exact same that it has been for the last year, the general layout and the general kind of ethos behind the board has been pretty solid for the last year and a half. So I wanted to go through with it. I feel like a lot of guys on YouTube, they go, this is my new pedal board, just as they've, put something new together. And they make a video on it, and then it changes, and it changes, and it changes. And I'm doing the opposite here. I'm going, this is I've stuck with this setup for a while. This is what I'm happy with. This is what I like at the minute. So let me talk about it. The other thing is it will probably change soon as well. It'll change soon because I've got some new shit on the way, some new pedals to demo, some new pedals that I bought. And I'm just getting a little bit bored. And yeah, I don't know. I want to change some shit up. And obviously I use this board within my band, but it's quite big. And, hopefully we're going to start touring a bit more, maybe doing some flying and stuff. And I can't bring this monstrosity with me on a plane. I mean, I could, but I don't want to, is my point. I have a smaller board that I'll kit out for band stuff. And so part of me is just enjoying having the big board while I've got it. But I also want to change some shit up and just play around with having a big board before we kind of, go in the studio, nut the songs down, start playing shows, start traveling a lot. And then I kind of will just have to have a setup that stays the same. At least for kind of traveling, touring purposes. Maybe I could do two boards, but I've never really been a two-board guy because there are lots of pedals I would want to have on both boards and having a live and a home board. And I feel like I ended up just missing something somewhere. But hey, what are you going to do? Let's stop fucking around and let's start talking through this pedal board. God, I should have gotten some water. All right, so this is the board, as you can see. This is a Pedal Train Novo 24. So decent size, not too big, not too small. Probably is too big for some people. And yeah, so let's go through the signal chain real quick before we go too much further. And then I'll kind of go into some specifics from there. So we go directly into the TC Polytune 3. I have the buffer on. It's important to have a buffer, kids. I do also have a volume pedal that I will use live, but I haven't got that set up today because I couldn't fucking be bothered. We go out of the Polytune into the POG from Electro Harmonics. Sick pedal. Never leave home with that one. After that, we go into the Slow Loris from Non-Human Audio. After that, we go into the Gig Rig Quartermaster. And loop 1, we have the Phase 90 from MXR, probably my favourite modulation pedal. Once again, never leave home without one. Loop 2, the Electronic Audio Experiments Halberd, probably my favourite overdrive pedal of all time. Never leave home without one. Loop 3, we have the newest pedal to me and to this board, the good one from Wren and Cuff, which is a big muff. Loop 4, we have the Science Amps Mother Pre and the Chase Bliss Mood Mark 1. Loop 5, we have the Earthquaker Devices Rainbow Machine. Loop 6, we have the Electronic Audio Experiments Sending. And we go out of the Quartermaster into the Walrus Audio Slo and the Strymon Flint. You can see by the lights that are currently on the Quartermaster, I leave loop 4 on all the time because that has got the preamp and the mood, which are two things that stay on all the time, like the Mother Pre and the mood, which are both pedals I want on all the time. And then I also leave the Strymon Flint on because I like having reverb. So here at home, I'm running into the Two Notes Audio Cab M Plus, which is running some Science Amps IRs, the free ones you can get off their website, which sound really good, especially for considering they're free. But when I play live with my band, I don't go direct to front or anything. I run into an amp. My amp that I have is a Fender Pro Reverb reissue, Custom 68, which is cool. It's a pretty standard clean amp, but I will very regularly backline and use backline amps, whatever's typically a Fender Hot Rod Deluxe, something in that lineage. And yeah, I don't, based on the venues we play, I don't trust a sound guy to give me a direct to front of house line, but it is something that when we start traveling more and we're renting gear and we're relying on backline, I will bring a direct to front of house solution with me, something like a Iridium maybe, or the Walrus Audio ACS one, something that just is a backup, which is, I think, a good idea for everyone out there if you're touring and traveling and relying on gear to be good in somewhere far away from where you live. Always have a backup, maybe the Tonek one I could bring with me, who knows. Anyway, we're not here to talk about that. But here at home, the Mother Pre is like my be-all end-all of tone. I'm just running cabs, so I'm going out of the kind of power amp direct out side of the Mother, so we're getting the full kind of EQ spectrum. So let's start with that. This is my core tone with the Mother Pre and the Flint. So I have the two channels. A is like a cleaner channel and B is the gainier channel. Fucking shit. Ignore that bit at the end there. Fuck me. Off my game today. So yeah, it's really good. It's really good. Of course, it's fucking good. Go watch my demo. I've done demos on most of these pedals. You should go check them out. Please, for the love of God, check them out. And for the love of God, subscribe and follow me on Instagram at Strasbourg Nation. For God's sake, I'm dying out here, people. All right, so the Mother's really good because, especially channel A, is really good because it is clean enough that if you line up your pick attack and don't strum so hard, you get really clean. But then if you kind of dig in a bit, you do get a bit of breakup. Obviously, I have the gain cranked, but that's where I like it. It's like a real pushed clean. And then the channel B, the heavier channel, I like to have set like right on the, it's just too much gain for you to kind of clean it up with your hand dynamics, but you can kind of roll the volume. There's still lots of dynamics. It's not, because channel A compresses a lot more than channel B, so, but it's set at a point where I feel like it's not compressing so much that you lose a lot of picking dynamics. But yeah, especially, back to channel A, if you're using something like this Telecaster, which I haven't spoken about yet, this is just my standard Telecaster. It's got the custom shop Texas Special pickups in it. It's not always the guitar I use with my band, but it is my number one guitar. It's my main drive. If I had, if the house is burning down, this is the one I grab, kind of thing. And it's really good for demonstrating what I'm trying to get across here, because in like the middle position, you pick lightly, it's nice and clean, and then you dig in on the bridge position, and it really kind of opens up a bit. I'm out of tune, but you get the point. So yeah, that's kind of the general thing. I spend a lot of time on channel B because in the band it's heavy, kind of rock, punk, rock-ish, Americana-ish, psychedelic-ish type stuff, but there's so much dynamic range within the mudder. There's so much dynamic range within the mudder. Preamp pedal. There's a lot of dynamic range, and I like playing around with that here at home a lot, where I make kind of more post-rocky, post-metal-y type stuff, especially, you know, like for all my demos, the mother is kind of the basis of that. It's my amp, if you will. So, Strymon Flint, I'll just quickly show you how much reverb I'm running. Sounds like a lot, but it's not that much. It just gives a nice amount of space. So, the next always-on pedal I want to talk about is the Sending. So, the Sending is a delay pedal, but it has a preamp built into the delay line, into the circuit, that is always on. So, regardless... As long as the delay is on, the delay sound, the preamp is on. And you can set it so that it's either in trails or non-trails. If you're in trails mode, the preamp is on all the time, whether or not you actually have the delay sound on. In non-trails, the preamp only comes in when you turn the pedal on to access the delay sounds. So I like having my delays to be trailed, which is why I leave loop 6 on all the time. But I've encountered some problems with the preamp within the Sending. And this is even something I had to reach out to John from Electronic Audio Experiments, and he was very patient and helped me work through this kind of troubleshooting. But basically, I think it's something to do with the Cab M+, which I'm using for my Cab IRs, and if I run too much volume into the Sending, it muffles everything. Not like... because the preamp naturally filters and adds a bit of warmth, but it fully... it sounds like someone's turned your tone knob all the way down. And I could never figure out why, because it wouldn't happen when I would run into my amp. And when I put the Sending before the mother, but after all my other drives, it also didn't happen, and I couldn't figure out why. It wasn't until I turned the masters on the Sending all the way down, on the mother all the way down, that I realized, okay, it's a volume thing. So I'll just demonstrate. So with loop 6 on, the delay's not on at the minute. I'll just bring loop 6 in and out so you can hear the kind of minuscule effects of the preamp, which is not much at the minute. Adds a little bit of body to the sound, takes off a little bit of that top end, but it's much better than it used to be. Much better than it used to be. So, the Sending stays on all the time. Sorry, the loop 6. But one of the benefits of having it in loop 6 is that if I ever want to take it out of the line, take it out of my signal chain, I just step on that. I don't have to change the, I don't have to hold the foot switch down to change it from bypass to trails mode or whatever. I just turn off that loop. It's out of the line. And it's good because it's still quite noticeable with fuzz pedals, particularly the good one, which we'll get to. So whenever I use the good one here at home, I don't use the Sending. But anyway, let's keep going. We'll start at the beginning. You know what a tuner does? It tunes. We'll start with the POG. It does what a fucking POG does. You don't need me to keep going there. Next, the slow Walrus. So the Slow Loris, this is such a cool pedal. I love this pedal so much. It's kind of in a family of pedals that I've always had an affection for, I should say. And I'm slowly kind of really delving into that thing, which is like, I like to call it like weird modulated slapbacks. And that's kind of what the Slow Loris is. It's an envelope control, delay, pitch bender, lo-fi thing. Yeah, I've done the dance with standard lo-fi pedals, you know, your Gen losses, your shallow waters, and those are cool. But I really like the weird slapback things. I mean, obviously I've got the Rainbow Machine on here, which I use it as a weird slapback and have done for years now. And the Slow Loris is just a recent one that I'm really enjoying, and it's a different thing to the Rainbow Machine, hence why I have both on my board. But yeah, another thing I love about the Slow Loris is how there's only 2 controls, but there's so much different variety within those 2 controls. I love pedals that have so few controls, but the controls do so much, because it stops you from kind of tweaking and endlessly tweaking this and that, and I gotta take a bit of here, a bit of this off here, a bit of that off here. Fuck that. You're stuck with whatever it gets. You just turn the knob until you find a sound that works. So, yeah. Fucking Slow Loris. Sick. Sick, lad. Phase 90. Phase 90. Like I said, never leave home without one. This has been a mainstay on my board and as part of my sound for many, many years. And one thing I love about the Phase 90, like I was talking about with the Slow Loris, is you got one knob, but every single millimeter on that turn of that one knob is a usable sound. You can find a usable sound anywhere. You know, it almost doesn't matter where it's set if you're not going for a specific sound. Whoa. Okay, tangent. I'm looking into my neighbour's gutter right now and there's a rat in there. That's terrifying. I don't live in a gross area either. It's a fairly new estate. Ooh. Anyway, that's probably going to get cut. So the Phase 90, I either use it as it's set now, this really fast psychedelic-y sound type thing. Helps if I turn it on. Or I kind of have it set around here somewhere. I either like the real slow kind of whooshing thing or the really fast psychedelic thing. I use both of these sounds in various points in my band's songs. I use the really fast one mainly in like a solo, where I kind of do the first half of the solo during this build-up with the fast speed on, and then the second half with the pog. I would demonstrate it, but it would sound like shit, just me playing the lead, so you'll have to keep an eye on my band's socials and wait for the song called Chemical Astronaut to come out. We don't know when it's coming out, but if I can keep your eye out, I guess. So yeah, and then the standard phase sound, the slower rate, I just kind of use in a couple different songs here and there, just to add some flavour, add some vibe. We have a funky song where it gets a lot of use. So yeah, it's my favourite modulation pedal of all time. I'll never part with it, and I'll always have one. So yeah, fuck the haters who think Phaser sucks. Number 2, the Halberd. So the Halberd, it is my favourite overdrive pedal. It's got all the things that I like about an overdrive pedal. It's very shapeable. The tone controller's got so much kind of range within it, and so does the depth control. The depth control is really cool. It kind of adds low end in without making things muddy. It's really cool. And then the kind of pre and post controls, they're kind of volume and gain, but not really, and they interact in a really interesting way. A lot of people, I think, use the Halberd as kind of like a always on thing, kind of like how I'm using the Mother Pre, like a end stage kind of leave it at the end of my drive chain always on. And I like it in that context for certain things, but it's never been my go-to use for the Halberd. It's always been a pushing other things drive. And of course you've got the toggle switch, so you can have the really dark setting or the really bright setting. I just leave it in the stock middle setting because that's what I like. But yeah, it's the best overdrive pedal I own. It's the best I play. I don't love how it interacts with channel A, the clean channel. I think if I had more room and didn't insist on having a huge giant fuzz pedal on my board, I would probably have a different drive to go with that channel. But beggars can't be choosers, and most of the time I kind of build it up, like going from channel A clean to channel B, then stacking gain on top. But anyway, it is what it is. Let's move on to the good one. So this is a fuzz pedal from Wren & Cuff. It's a Big Muff. I've had a long time love and obsession with Big Muffs. Not that kind of Big Muff. Well, yes, but no. Don't know why I said that. Fucking Jesus Christ. I used to love Big Muffs. One of my first ever pedals was just the standard big box NYC EHX Big Muff. And from then it's been a bit of an obsession. I've owned so many clones. I still have a vintage Russian tall font Big Muff, which should do a video on that actually. That'd be a cool video to make. But yeah, I have fallen off Big Muffs in the last few years, if I must admit. I've been trying other things, octave fuzzes, But recently I was at a Pedal Empire, shout out to them in Brisbane, Australia, mate, with D'Artagnan. And Anthony. Anthony is our manager in my band, and D'Artagnan sings and plays guitar in the band, and we were finding a guitar pedal for D'Artagnan. I was just trying some things out. The good one happened to be in like the room I was in, already plugged in, where I was trying a pedal out, and I just thought I'd give it a go, and it was sick. It blew me away. So let's hear it. Quick thing to note, doesn't like the sending preamp, so I'm going to turn that off, and I only really use it with the clean channel of the Mother. I mean, what is not to fucking like there? Tell me, because I'm waiting to hear it. Exactly. There's nothing to not like there. It is such a sick fuzz sound. Obviously, I have everything cranked because that is the way a Big Muff should be used. Cranked out the fucking asshole. So yeah, the good one is the newest pedal. I do want to give a shout out to two pedals that I have really been enjoying lately. So the first one is it's a bit dusty, you'll have to forgive me, the No Mask from Wyong Road Electronics, small builder here in Australia. They sent this out to me to demo kind of back in March, and I just absolutely fell in love with this pedal. It's a percolator type thing, but very heavily modified. It's such a sick pedal. Check out my demo on it, but this has been a real go-to for me since I got it. And the other fuzz pedal I really enjoyed is the Pariah from God City Instruments. Once again, you can check out my demo on this one. Very highly tuned Big Muff. Like all grind, not as much low end as like a standard thing like the good one. All grind, really brutal. And yeah, go check out my demo on both these pedals. These have kind of been two of my go-tos recently. as far as fuzz goes. But yeah, the good one, it's sick. Like I said, I only really use it with the clean channel, but hey, sounds good. What more could you want? Moving on. Loop 4. Obviously, we've already talked about the mother. Now let's talk about the mood. I don't really have one. I do actually have a preset. In all the years I've had this mood, this is one of the first moods that exists. Like, I got it right after it came out. And I've never used a preamp sound, a preset sound. And we'll get into that in a sec, but I finally use a preset sound for one of our songs for a part that is probably actually going to get cut from the song. So, fuck me, right? Why bother? But the mood I just kind of like using in two main ways. So, I'm going to kick on the sending and the slow, the Walrus Audio Slo. Actually, show you how to use it first. So, the wet side, I really like to use the slip function for like a reverse octave up delay sound like this. I left the slow on there, you'll have to forgive me. But yeah, if you channel up with some reverb, some delay, it can sound really cool. That's kind of how I like to use it. It can be really cool in like a shoegazy moment, or it can be really good for pretty stuff, pretty swells, you know. It's cool. And then the loop side, I kind of like to use the tape loop side setting, once again for more like reverse fun stuff. There's also another moment at the beginning of one of our songs, which I probably can actually do, where I kind of like get like a higher bit going, like a... And so, like, the D'Artagnan, the other guitarist, will play the rhythm part, and then I'll kind of have that going, fuck with it, like, change the pitch up and down, like I was doing, and then also, like, do some leady stuff over the top, but it kind of, like, there's this constant, like, going on along underneath, which adds, like, an extra vibe to the beginning of the song, man. It's all about the vibe, dog! Alright, moving on. Next pedal, Rainbow Machine. Mission Impossible. leaving that in. That was technical difficulties with either the input or the dodgy patch lead. Don't buy solderless, kids, apparently. Everyone always tells you not to buy solderless, but I've never had any problems with these solderless cables, except for that. Oh. Anyway, that is the Rainbow Machine. I kind of have it set as this, like a slapbacky type thing, if I turn it on. And I use it in a couple of points. There's one point which is going to sound super weird on its own, but it works in the context of the song. So it's this bridge bit where we're like just smacking the B chord while some shit happens, and I do this, which I'll demonstrate. Something along those lines, right? While there's like some things going on, I'm hitting the B chord, and then it's just the magic on the Rainbow Machine is just taking off. That sounded super fucking dumb on its own, as most of the shit that I do will sound, because I'm doing everything within the context. Oh, I forgot my preset on the mood. Hold on. So this I actually do use within a solo, and I can kind of play it to make sense. There you go. So, sorry to jump back to the mood real quick there, but yeah, that's like a solo bit that I play in a song, and I have that saved because I wanted the slip mode to be set a very specific way, and I didn't want to have to try and find it before we play the song, so I can just smash that thing to the side, and we're good to go. But yeah, the Rainbow Machine, it is what it is. There is a point in a song... There is a point in a song that I can't really demonstrate because it doesn't work without a real amp, where I'll have the Rainbow Machine on for the solo, as it was before, as the slapback sound. Then right at the end of the solo, I finish on like a G note and smack the magic, and the magic takes off, and then I kind of angle the guitar to get some feedback, and then the feedback feeds the magic, which is then feeding itself. And then while that's happening, I'm bending down and mucking with the pitch knob, which kind of changes shit on the Rainbow Machine. It's like... And it sounds really cool, but I need to be able to get feedback, which I can't do here, because I have housemates and neighbours and shit, so I can't use a real amp. But yeah, it kind of like feeds back and sounds all warped right at the end of the solo before going into the second verse. But yeah, that's the Rainbow Machine. Does what it does what it says. It can do a lot of fucking shit sounds, but I found a good sound. I'm going to drink some water. Oh, God, I'm thirsty. Alright, the Sending. I've spoken a bit about it before. I'll talk a little bit more about it now. It is a delay pedal. Moving on. No. It is not just a delay pedal, it is potentially the best delay pedal I've ever played. I am a self-proclaimed electronic audio experiments fanboy, and this was a big get for me, a big purchase. It was a birthday present to myself, and I got, my missus and my family to kind of pitch in for it so I could get it. I love it. It's the best delay sound I've ever played. The only pedal that I've played that comes close is the Chase Bliss Therme, just as a standard delay. But this is really good. I literally have nothing else to say about it, except the fact that it's really good. I guess you've heard it, but I'll play it some more. So yeah, despite my shitty playing, the sending makes everything sound sick. It is just such a good delay pedal. Oh, it has the swell function. Let's try that. Sick noise! I have never loved delay pedals that much. I always preferred kind of tape emulation, but analog delay, did I say that? Doesn't matter. I've never liked analog delay pedals that much. I've always preferred tape emulation or modulated digital delays, but this sounds good. That's all I have to say. Moving on. Walrus Audio Slo. It's a fucking fancy reverb. I have the Walrus Audio Slo for one reason, and I will demonstrate that right now. Now this will keep going, right? All I have to do is hit one button to latch. I don't have to hold my feet. I don't have to hold the button. I can put my guitar down, walk away. This thing will just keep going. It does degrade over time, I believe, but still. The point is I don't have to hold my foot switch on it. I don't have to hold the foot switch down for a certain amount of time. I don't have to do any bullshit. I just tap it and it grabs whatever's there. And then watch this. Fades out. Why is it so hard for any other reverb pedal with a latch function to do exactly what this pedal does? I'm asking. Because I don't know. Because I cannot, for the life of me, find a reverb pedal that doesn't cost an arm and a leg that does that the way that does. You know? I don't want it to be a special function. I don't want to have to hold the foot switch down for 2 seconds. I don't want to have to hold my foot on the foot switch. You know? I want to be able to use that for song transitions. So I can hit it. I can tune. I can grab a drink. And then when I tap it, it doesn't hard cut. Like the freeze. I know all you nerds are going to be saying, get the EHX freeze in the comments. No, you're wrong. Maybe the new one fades out. I don't know. But the old school one doesn't. Why is it so hard for a reverb pedal to do that? Any other reverb pedal. I like the Slo. I do. But God, I'm sick of it. God, I'm sick of it. But it's the only reverb pedal that does what that does in the way it does it. So I'm stuck with it. At least until I get the Mood Mark II, because it can do it, I think. I think it fades out. I don't think it hard cuts. Went on a bit of a rant there. And now we're up to the Flint. I guess I also use the Tremolo sometimes, so I'll demonstrate that. We get a bit kind of Americana or a bit country sometimes, and I like to throw a bit of harmonic tremolo in there. Sue me. Please don't. But yeah, I do love harmonic trem. It is one of those sounds I've always kind of really enjoyed, especially slow. Let's do some slow stuff. What more could you want, right? Sounds cool. Yeah, I enjoy some harmonic trem from time to time. Probably a little bit more than like a Univibe, if I want that kind of vibe slower down. But I prefer phaser over Univibe. Univibe's cool. Anyway, now we're done with the board. That's the board. Those are the sounds. That's the way I use the pedals, right? Let's talk about some changes. Let's talk about some things I maybe want to do differently. One thing I am really interested in is a front-end preamplifier tone shaper. Something like the Jackson Audio Prism or the Drybell Unit 6.7, or the one I actually have my eye on, the Tone Ranger Audio, I think that's what they're called, Tone Ranger Prickly Pear. It's like based out of some rack unit, but anyone I've heard use it, it makes everything sound better. You know, I would be really interested in something like that. But then, like, the Drybell Unit 6.7 has a compressor built in that you can turn off or just kind of bring in a bit. That's quite appealing to me because I don't have a compressor at the minute. And sometimes the clean sounds, even though they sound really nice in the mother, they could use a bit of compression, a bit of a lift. Yeah, thoughts and discussions. Some new things. I do have some pedals coming from a builder, but I don't know if I can talk about them. So I won't say what they are, but they're just some different like drive distortion-y type things. But I also have a Dirge, a slowly melting from Dirge coming, which I purchased. Do not worry, not a freebie. I purchased, and I'm really excited to throw that on the board. That's going to have to go somewhere, maybe replacing the Rainbow Machine. I'll have to figure it out. Fuck, I'm knocking shit over when it comes in. But apart from that, I am just feeling a bit of a change-up. I have some pedals that I really love that I have never really had the chance to use. Not that I haven't had the chance to use, but I haven't used in a while or didn't get to use that much because I swapped them out for something else, yada, yada, yada. Like the Holy Island Audio Tides. I never really found a use for it in the band. And I'd love to kind of throw that back on the board, but it's so big, I have to do a real change up, maybe forego some things. But, you know, it's hard, man, when you've got sounds you need for certain songs, and it's hard to kind of... And we're going to be going into the studio in a couple months, so I kind of need to have a set board ready so I have the sounds I need when we go into the studio. But, yeah, I'm also feeling a change up. I kind of want to fuck my shit up, you know, just completely... get rid of, like, everything except for, like, the mother, the sending, and, like, the mood, you know. Actually, the Phase 90... See, this is what happens. It's like, well, the Phase 90 and the Pog, I love both of them, so they're going to stay. The mother is the core of my sound. Sending is my favourite delay. The mood is an endless tool for inspiration. I love always on reverb, so the Flint's got to stay. And what's that? That's only, like, a couple pedals that can go. It's tough. Maybe I will put together a small gigging board, band board, and have a big home board. But then what's the point? You know? What's the point of doing any of this? What's the point if you're not going to take it to the people? You know, perform this shit in front of people. I mean, obviously, you know, there are bedroom players, and I've got nothing against people who just like to do this sort of thing in their bedroom. But, you know, my whole reason for owning all this shit is to make music and to present that music to people. And while I like doing the songs and the pedal demos, the band is really, you know, that's the goal, you know. As antiquated and as silly and outdated an idea, I just want to play songs in a band. Is that too much to ask for? Maybe in this day and age it is. Who knows? Maybe I'll become a TikTok star. Who knows? A bit existential there at the end, but regardless, thank you very much for watching. I don't know how long this video will end up. I've had to stop 3 times doing this because fucking shit kept stopping and SD cards got full. It's my own fault. It's been a while since I've done a video that's so long in one go. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe. I have demos on a lot of these pedals. Please go check them out. Go search through my channel. Go have a find. And keep an eye out on my shit. I should have a lot of cool stuff coming out. I'll have a demo for the Sending, demo for the Good One, demo for the Slowly Melting by Dirge when it turns up, and a couple other cool other things that I can't quite talk about yet. But yeah, lots of stuff coming. I'll try and keep on top of it all. But yeah, thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting me, for subscribing, liking, commenting. Even if it's a bad one, it means the world to me in this little silly endeavour and pursuit that I find myself on. Anyway, enough rambling. Thank you for watching. And as always, from the bottom of my heart, fuck off.